Enjoy the ride with Crystal Petry. Consulting, so inspiring. Pushing you to your dreams.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of 60 Minutes With. I'm your host, Crystal Petry. On this week's episode of the podcast, we are going to talk about other options for high school students outside of college. We're also going to tell you how students can graduate high school and start making $50,000 to $60,000. You heard that number correct. And here to educate me and you, Dr. Donna Prudhomme. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Crystal. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be on this podcast. One of my other guests, Bettina Evans, suggested that we interview you because you guys have so much going on here at the Career and Technical Education.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes. So I couldn't wait to sit down and speak with you about everything that you offer here for high school students and really middle school going into high school. So my first question is, you are the executive director here.
Director, not executive.
Just director.
Yes, director.
Okay. So how long have you been director here?
This is my 6th year as director of CTE.
Okay. And as the director, what are your duties and responsibilities for this campus?
Okay. So I have a team of 5 that work with me for under CTE, and we work with our middle school and high schools. So CTE covers 7th grade through 12th grade, and so it's broad, so many different avenues and things that touch CTE. And it starts at 7th grade because talking about CTE and careers in high school is really too late. So technically the state says that we'll fund you at 7th grade to educate students about CTE, but what we do is we start at pre-K talking about CTE because it's really too late in middle school and high school. And so although our focus with the state is 7th through 12th grade, what we choose to do in Beaumont ISD starts with pre-K because we want to start with the littles and educating them, so by the time they get to middle school, say, oh, okay, I think I want to do this, and then it may change when they get to high school, but at least they know when they're very small.
Why do you say it's too late to have that discussion by the time they get to middle school?
Okay, think of it this way, and we use this analogy whenever we have career days at schools. So let's say you are a principal at elementary school, and you say, okay, kids, it's career day, and you pull up, a fire truck. And that's all they see. And so that kid could possibly say, okay, I want to be a firefighter when I grow up, which is great. But we want to make sure that they know of other options that are available for them. So when we say it's too late, when you're in high school, most kids already know the direction they want to go. And of course, you can naturally change your mind like I did when I was in college. I changed my major 3 times. But when we say it's too late, we want to make sure we start when they're little to start building that foundation. That if I want to be a veterinarian, and you know that at that age, then when you get to middle school, that's still your focus. And when you get to high school, you're going to get in that program of study that's going to continue guiding you towards veterinary studies. So that's why we say it's too late in high school. We would rather start earlier so you can really understand the importance of career and technical education because, truth be told, we are all CTE. Don't let the word technical, like we were talking earlier, fool you. We're all CTE. And that's why we like to start with the littles, exploring options available for them. So they explore it in elementary school, and then it just expands when they get to middle and high school.
Excellent. Yeah. Now, how long, this is a 2-part question, how long have you been in education, and how did you start in that career path?
Okay. Yes, for CTE, so that's like a loaded question. But this is my I don't even count anymore. I think this is year 27 for me in Beaumont ISD, and I had about 4.5 years with the state. So initially I started in the criminal justice system. So yes, my undergraduate degree is in criminal justice, and I was a parole officer. People do not believe this. I worked at the federal prison, I taught at the state prison, and my ultimate goal was to become a warden.
Really?
To become a warden.
You took a major pivot.
I did, but hey, I said when I was at the federal prison, I started seeing too many young males coming in, and that revolving door, and I was like, you know what? this is not good. Let me try to go on the other side of the door to see if I could be of further assistance, to our younger population. And so I think this was probably in '97, and that's when I went to Westbrook, my alma mater, and taught criminal justice at Westbrook. So I was still teaching in CTE, and I became a elementary counselor for 1 year at Price. I also attended Price, so it's just, it's just
You just went back home.
Yeah, it's just giving flashbacks of when I was there. And after my 1 year at Price, I went to Ozan High School as a counselor, and I graduated the class of 2005. And I was at Ozan for 13 years as assistant principal, magnet coordinator, and principal. So I actually closed Ozan in 2018.
Okay.
So, I wanted to be a warden that's been over, the prison, but I was a high school principal, so I was still over an institution. I'm not comparing the two, but I love my job as a principal. So I knew that once my season was up with the principalship that I wanted to be director of CTE, because that was a desire of mine when I was teaching. Yeah, when I was teaching at Westbrook.
Okay.
My CTE director, Pat Calhoun, I would ask him all the time, hey, I want to be your assistant, because I know the opportunities that are available for students in CTE. And so I love it. I love CTE. So that's my story of how I got to where I am.
Well, you said that you wanted to come on the other side of the bar, so to
Yes.
speak, to make a difference. Do you feel like you have, I know it's a very broad and general question, but do you feel like you've made a change in that to where that revolving door in the
Yes.
prison system is not as revolving?
I would like to say that I have, because if you just touch one student, you've done something. What is disappointing is when you see some of the students that walk the hallway where you were, and you knew they had promise and they had plans, and they chose to go a different direction. That's a little disappointing, but if you could just say one, then you've done something. And so I think we've made a difference, because when I initially came aboard as director of CTE, I came with a different pair of lenses. And so as I was just trying to figure out the direction I wanted to go with the department, I said, I'm going to set it up like it's an actual school. So vision, mission, department goals, and all of those things, activities, I brought that to the department. And so that's how I know we've expanded. I've grown the team, and our students are earning certifications. And so, I think we've made tremendous growth, and I'm excited about where we are. The ball was really rolling before COVID, and then it came to a standstill. And so now the ball is rolling again, so we're just now seeing the other side of where we could have been before COVID. We're building that momentum again with our students earning their certifications, and it's exciting, because we actually host CT Choice Awards, where we acknowledge and celebrate our outstanding CT students. First year was at the
When
Event
is
Center.
that?
It's in May of every year. First year was at the Event Center, year before last. We were full to capacity. Last year we were at the Civic Center, about 700. So we went from 400 to 700. This year we're back at the Civic Center, and we're hoping to have more than 700, and that's students and their parents and our business partners and our cabinet members and school board members, and we roll out the red carpet. It's not like your traditional school celebration. It's a dressy affair and DJ and food. So because I believe CT is important, and because every kid is not meant to go to college. Yeah.
Why do you say that every kid is not meant to go to college?
Especially working in education, you can see that, right? My experience as a counselor, I could see that, where a kid would say, I'm not college material. I'm barely getting through high school, Dr. Prudhomme. What are my other options? And we have to recognize that, right? And so when students come, and I know I'm kind of dabbling all over the place, answering the other questions, but we're just talking. So when students come to the Career Center, they're coming here because they want other options. They can still go to college, but they're coming here to get a skill set, right? And so now, compared to years past, they come to get this skill set, they can also leave with the certification, an industry-based certification, which says that I'm workforce ready. And so to a kid, like you mentioned, coming out making 50 to 60,000, do I need to go to college, or can I just go, I'll just say LIT or a technical school, and 2 years in, or take my certification and I'm already making that money? I mean, they have so many options that we didn't have when we were in
It's
school.
true.
So
It's
that's why I
true.
say every kid is not college ready or, meant to go to college. And when a kid tells you that, we need to believe them. Because what most of the students do, and this is my experience as a counselor, they will go because they're fulfilling someone else's dream, maybe their parents, and it's not for them. And then they have student loans or whatever the case may be, and then they have to start over. So we need to listen more. And so that's why we provide these opportunities for them, because working in this business almost 30 years, everyone is not meant to go to college. So we give them 3 options. We want you to do at least one of these 3 things.
Okay.
Enroll in college, enlist in the military, or enter the workforce. Those are your only 3 options.
Okay.
And so at least we know that they're doing something. And so that's why we say everyone is not college material, and we need to respect that.
So you are not trying to deter kids from going to college by enrolling them here.
Right.
You actually encourage that.
Because we have several students that come to the Career Center that still go to a 4-year college. And they still utilize their certification. And so what they do is they come through us, they get the education and the skill set, and say, okay, I'm in the welding program, but I want to major in engineering. That's the best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying? And so you really have a skill set, something you can put on your resume that makes you more marketable. And so we never tell a kid that you're not college material. The kid can determine that themselves. We just want to provide other options for them. So we do that while they're in school, where you can earn your certification or a level 1 certificate in partnership with Lamar Institute of Technology or Lamar State College Orange, your stumping grounds.
Yes, it is.
Yes, so that way they can take those skill set with them, and that way they can enhance it or just choose to go directly into the workforce.
What classes do you offer here?
We offer several different programs of study. I'll just name a few. Welding, automotive, maritime, culinary, audio, video production, digital graphics, teaching and training. I mean, these are the programs that we offer here on this campus, where most of them are tied to a lab, like the automotive shop or the welding lab. But we also offer programs of study on the high school campuses, Beaumont United and Westbrook. Yeah.
Now, we are in the audiovisual room, correct?
Yes, correct.
And the studio, the setup is absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
And I was telling you before we got on camera that this setup is better than a lot of professional television setups. So in this class, what are the kids learning?
Okay, so with the audio video production program, this program actually started at Ozan High School back in 1997. It was our flagship program. When I came aboard as director, I wanted to expand opportunities to grow our programs, our specialized programs. So by me opening the program up and expanding it here, it allowed for Westbrook students to participate. So 9th and 10th grade students participate on the home campus, and when they come here to the Career Center, they're part of Beaumont ISD-TV, which we call BISD-TV.
Okay.
And these students actually are in our practicum class, and they work at the football stadium during football season and sometimes during soccer season to kind of train them for next year's football season, and they get paid. That's a paid practicum to be a part of Beaumont ISD-TV. And so with this program, it opens up opportunities for students who want to go into audio-video broadcasting. We've had several students that I can speak of from when our time at Ozan that worked for Disney. One young lady worked for Tyler Perry Studios. We had a few students that ended up in LA. And so when Miss Briggs, who was a teacher back then, would take the students to LA, Hollywood, or New York, expanding their horizons and their avenues outside the classroom, they were able to connect with our previous students to build those connections. Okay. So that's when I say it's so broad, you can go so many different directions with CTE, but the most important thing is plugging into the alumni who's gone through the program.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How many students do you have currently enrolled here?
I think we have about here at the Career Center, maybe almost 700 students here at the Career Center. Yeah.
And is the center just 9th through 12th grade students who actually come and go to class?
No, it's only juniors and seniors.
Only juniors
and seniors. So they take their 9th and 10th grade classes at Westbrook or Beaumont United, and then they come here as juniors and seniors to continue that flourishing with the program study.
Now, you mentioned that you have welding here. You also have, don't you have like something that, like a car mechanical?
Automotive.
Automotive
Mhm.
here.
Cosmetology.
Cosmetology here as well.
Mhm.
Or
Health science.
health science. Okay, come on,
Yeah.
Dr. Prudhomme.
I mean, I was just giving you a little tea, but if you want it all, I'll keep going.
Come on,
Yeah.
Dr. Prudhomme, I love
I'll give
it.
it to you, yeah.
Now, with those classes, are the community allowed to come in? And like if I wanted to come and get my hair done, or if I needed to get my vehicle worked on,
Yes.
is that an option?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Okay, so in years past, it was open, and of course, COVID kind of slowed things down. So we have a business and industry coordinator on the team, and so she's working on the CTE marketplace, where you'd be able to come and get those services. So that should be launching later this year and in full effect at the beginning of next year.
That's
so
amazing.
Yes, where you can actually give donations to get those services performed. Yeah.
With the cosmetology, is it true that when the students graduate here that they have their cosmetology license, or they have their hours
Yes.
to go towards the license? Explain
Yes,
that.
they have the hours
Okay.
to go towards the hours. The hours to go towards the license. You have to have the hours before you can sit for the test.
Okay.
And so that's why it's important for students coming into cosmetology to understand that. And our teacher and our counselor here, they're very, very involved with explaining that to the parents, because a lot of our students are involved in after-school activities, football, cheerleading, drill team. And so we know you have practice, but you made the commitment. These are the hours that you need by the end of your senior year to be on track to go to Austin and test for your license. So
Yes.
that's the ultimate goal. Yes, ma'am.
Do you pay, and not you specifically, but does the career center pay for the license, or does the student have to pay?
I pay through my budget. The district pays, yes, not the career center, the district. So another advantage for the students is that, I hate to say that we pay for everything, but we pay for everything because we want to give them every opportunity to get what they need to be successful when they leave Oman ISD. So that's a part of what we do when it comes to industry-based certifications. They're dual credit. We pay for that through my department.
How long has the career center been here?
Since 1987.
1997?
87.
87.
1987. Yes.
And do you know why they decided to have this campus?
Back then, I don't know, because I was actually in 87 a sophomore at Westbrook, so I have no idea, because I don't even remember the career center when I was in school. And so I don't know, I can't answer that question, but I tell you what, we were ahead of the game. We were ahead of the game because I know for a fact whenever I became director, districts were calling us because they're building CTE centers and coming to get, information and touring and trying to get some feedback. And we've toured CTE centers, in Houston, in Dallas, in Austin, just getting ideas to bring back here. So this is where it is now. Districts are building CTE centers because, as data shows, everyone is not college material. You have a lot of students who are entering the workforce. And so it's our job as educators to prepare them to make sure they're ready. So yeah, so I think we started something way back when, but yeah, so we really would love a new facility because we've outgrown this one. So that's really the goal, is hopefully that we'd be able to get a new facility for the students.
As I was speaking at the beginning of the podcast, I was saying that students could graduate here making $50,000 to $60,000. What are those classes that would allow a student to make that kind of money? Which, as an adult, I still feel like it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, yeah. So when it comes to CTE and programs of study, with the Texas Education Agency, TEA, has put in place is they are in partnership with industry, because industry is aging out, right? And so
and by industry you mean?
Industry. When we leave school, when you go and work in different industries and organizations, we just call it industry.
Okay.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be a refinery. Industry in general, the workforce. So we call it industry. So when TEA started listening to industry, they were saying that, of course, aging out, the population is aging out. And we're concerned that we're not getting enough students to build this pipeline, to fill these vacancies. And so what will the future workforce look like? And so when TEA came up with programs of study, and this was probably about, actually when we first started, they were having the conversations about it. So maybe about 5 years ago, it was like, okay, we want to create a coherent sequence of courses. We've had that before, but they said that you must follow, okay? Meaning, this is what a student takes in 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade to build that pipeline to industry, to the workforce. And so this way, we're guaranteeing industry that we're preparing students to fill those vacancies, to fill those jobs. And so that's what I say, industry and building that pipeline, but we are required to only offer programs of study that lead to high demand, high skill, and high wage careers.
I like it.
Okay? So, in other words, we want them to graduate making $50, $60 or more, $1,000. And so that's something that TEA says you have to do. And not only that, the federal government, because we also receive federal funding. So your funding, in order to continue receiving funding, you have to offer these programs of study. We're fortunate in Beaumont ISD because we're large, so we have 24 different programs of study. Okay, across the district. And your smaller districts, have less than that. And so we have so many opportunities for students to choose from, and they're here and there, and they're just, I want to welding. Oh no, I think I want to try this. No. You have to solidify your plans, your program of study at least by 10th grade.
Okay.
Because now we're held accountable for that, and the high schools, receive accountability measures for whether or not that student completes their program of study, meaning 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade.
Okay.
They're holding you accountable, so they're making us do it because they know that if a kid comes out with the skill sets, then they'll be ready for the workforce even if they go to college.
Right.
Yeah. Or military, because you can major in,
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, so yeah.
That's true.
So yeah.
So by 10th grade, the kid or the student has to have basically committed to welding or cosmetology or something like that.
Right. Just like when we go to college, you need to make sure you know what you majored in, because you're going to waste money if you're changing your major and you're a junior and you changing your major again, you never graduate.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to get them to understand that's the mindset. We're trying to shape that mindset, because when you go to college, you need to make a decision. So you could be undecided. In 8th grade, they select their program of study. Yes, we're asking 8th graders to say, oh, I want to do that when I grow up, and they have no idea.
Right.
But in order for the school and the district to get, to not be dinged, for losing that student by them not completing their program of study, we want to make sure that they stay on track. And that's really to help them as well. It's not always about accountability. Everybody says that, but it's also about making sure that the students get what they need so they'll be successful whenever they choose to enter the workforce.
Is 8th grade too young for a student to be making that kind of a decision?
Absolutely. My daughter, we were going through the book and she was like, oh, how much does that? Oh, that's not enough money. Oh, you have to select something. But she changed. But I made sure it was before, we finalized her 10th grade schedule. So yes, it is. But the counselors have to know what they're going to schedule the kids into. And oftentimes we hear like, well, I didn't sign up for this or I didn't sign up for that. But we have to put you somewhere. And unfortunately, some of our popular programs of study, they fill up fast. And so, that's the downside of us offering so many programs of study, is that you may not get your first choice. Okay. But it is too soon for them to say, this is what I want to do. But remember, I gave you the example about, I'm going to say like a police truck pulling up for career day. We want to make sure they know that you can be a police officer, and if you don't want to, be a firefighter. If you don't want to do that, you can do this, you can do that. You have many options available for you. But at least you can say, I want to do these 3 things, and hopefully you'll get into one of your top programs of study.
You said that y'all have 24 programs of study here. How do you let the students know all the options? Do you have a booklet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we have a CTE magazine, and then we also have reference cards for the counselors. So the counselors are educated; they know what we offer, and we have brochures, and so they have this information before them whenever they sit down with the parent and the 8th grade student when they make their program of study selection. So that information is available for them. Yes, ma'am.
Does every student that comes through, we're in Beaumont, Texas, so Beaumont School District, every student that goes through the high schools in Beaumont, Texas, Beaumont School District, because
Yes,
we have
right.
outside, do they have to come here?
Oh, no, absolutely
Okay.
not. No. You can choose your program of study, and most of them end up, I shouldn't say most of them. So we have the ones I mentioned to you, welding, automotive, cosmetology, culinary. They end here because it's a lab, right?
Okay.
We don't have an automotive shop at Bowling and
So they
Westbrook.
start at the
They
high
start at the
school.
high schools. You take your basics, like we do at the high school,
Okay.
and then you take your advanced classes here. Now, for programs of study that are not tied to a lab, yes, you can complete those at your high school. So we have 2 routes for healthcare. So we have healthcare here, and then you also, or you can complete it on your campus if your schedule doesn't allow for you to come to the Career Center. Because again, remember, a lot of our students are involved in extracurricular activities.
Right.
And they have to be on campus possibly for a drill team or football. But some kids are able to come because we can put them in the AM, versus the PM. So, but it doesn't work for every student. So Miss Pettitan, the counselor here, she is so phenomenal. She'll work with a kid and do the best that she can to get them placed. But if you have those specialized classes, and you have to be in, certain classes, sometimes it's hard for the students to get here. So then Mrs. Green, our coordinator counselor, coordinator of CTE, she tries to find a route where they can be a completer on the campus. So it's sometimes an individual basis, but at the end of the day, they do not have to come to the Career Center. But we also want parents and students to know that if you choose welding or automotive or culinary, your route ends here, or cosmetology. It
Okay.
ends here. So if you do not want to come to the Career Center as a junior or senior, then don't select those programs of study, because we can't take you out, because you're a junior then, and you need to be a program of study completer.
And I'm assuming that information is also like in your brochures and your
Absolutely,
pamphlets.
yes. So the parents and the students know, and the counselors know, but sometimes it's tough now, and sometimes there are extenuating circumstances, and you have to do what you have to do. But at the end of the day, we try to stick with that.
So it's 2 years here,
Mhm.
and they receive the certificate. So the certificate, is it a 2-year certificate or is it a 4-year certificate that they're
it's
receiving?
a 2-year certificate, and it varies. It could be a program study, a program completion, and it's all generated from the institution of higher learning. So either
Okay.
LIT or Lamar State College Orange for maritime. All of our other partnerships are with LIT, and that's all determined by LIT. So we crosswalk with LIT, and it's whatever SAC says is what we go by. So it could be a level 1 certification is what most of our students earn, or a program of study, or program completion or certificate. But for the most part, they all participate in Lamar Institute of Technology's graduation. So we're excited about that.
So they graduate from high school and they graduate from Lamar Institute of Technology?
They graduate from LIT first, then their graduation is always before ours. So yeah.
So is it kind, because I'm learning and I'm listening as we're having this conversation, so is it kind of like an associate's degree that they're graduating with?
Not
Or
necessarily.
maybe a
Like,
little
it's
bit
a
under?
certificate. It's like you can take those hours and they can go towards you completing your associate degree. So, early college, high school has the program designed where you can earn an associate degrees, but we're not designed like that here.
Okay.
Because they go to ECHS for that purpose.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the certificates that they earn here, those hours would go towards their associates
Right.
or their
Yeah.
bachelor's
Or their bachelor's,
if
they
they
choose to, yeah.
if they choose
Absolutely.
to.
So, and it's a level 1 certification, and then the district gets credit for it. The
Mhm.
high schools, I should say, and the district as well. But again, the students are very excited about that because they're college students, and our partnership, our dual credit partnership here at the Career Center is with ExxonMobil. So they pay a portion of the students' tuition as well, and I pay the difference, our CT department, so, yeah.
You mentioned the culinary classes here. Tell me about that program.
Well, you already know Chef
I do.
Bettina Evans. So
I do.
so we have 2 kitchens
Mhm.
here at the Career Center. Again, our students take their 9th and 10th grade courses at Beaumont United or Westbrook, and then they feed in here. Their junior year, they're with Chef Clayton, and their senior year, they're with Chef Evans. So Chef Evans has our practicum students, which is the students who go out, to catering events with her. And so that is an unpaid practicum, okay? But those students get a wealth of knowledge, not only just catering and having those experiences, but you yourself knows the experience that Chef Evans has from being a restaurant owner. They are truly in a situation to where if they want to continue on in culinary, they are in the best place. And so what's really exciting about that is I'll just give an example. They had Cupcake Wars last Friday, and so I'm telling you, I was looking at those cupcakes and
What's
I was like,
Cupcake Wars?
Okay, there was a show that comes on. I don't know if it comes on anymore.
Okay.
And what you have baked cupcakes, and it's a cupcake battle. It's Cupcake Wars. They have judges and they have winners. I think you win like maybe $10,000 for your bakery. Mm-hmm. Well, minus $10,000. Right. We had it, but you didn't get $10,000. But it was just the experience, and the kids took it so serious. It was a team of student chefs, and they had judges, and they had an actual winner. And so, and it's bringing those experiences to the students. Mm-hmm. I remember Chef actually had them maybe last year for Thanksgiving, frying turkeys. So they're learning so many different things about culinary, how to plate food, how to serve. At our CT Choice Awards, first year our students, served. And so they're getting a full experience that if they want to continue in culinary, this is the place where they need to be, because Chef Evans will definitely get them prepared.
And I sat down with Chef Bettina Evans, and if you have not watched that podcast, please go and watch it. She is a wealth of knowledge and information. It was an amazing, amazing podcast. Tell me about the end of the year awards. How did that come about, and why do you feel like that's necessary?
Okay, so that was a vision I had coming into this position. I'll start here. Okay, and I'm gonna just say this because I'm a CT teacher. Okay, I taught criminal justice at Westbrook, and most people feel like CT is just an elective, and it's not. And I noticed in different districts it's perceived differently. And so my mindset coming in from being a principal to coming into this position, and I wanted to change the mindset that it's not just a CTE. We are just as important as English, math, science, and social studies, right? And so my goal was to make sure that I branded the department. That's where the logo came from. I made sure that we had a presence. We have our shirts and our blazers and vision and the mission and the goals, and we have to make sure that we are informing the students that we're not just an elective. We're 40% of accountability. Now, when I taught CTE, we were not a part of accountability. You're 40% of accountability, just like the STAR test. So you are important.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so you were important before that, but you are important. You have to see that. So my goal was like, how can I change the mindset of how people think of career and technical education? Because as we talked about, every student is not college bound, and that's okay. You can go to a technical school and make six figures and be successful. That's what technical skills are. And so I said, I knew year one when I had this event, one of my, Ms. LeBlanc, she's always like, well, next year is always, she forecasts out. Next year, well, I think we need to start small, but next year, no, we're not waiting on next year. We're doing this now. And I said the ultimate goal was not to have it at a Beaumont ISD facility, because remember, I'm trying to change the mindset. Okay. So I'm like, I don't want people thinking, oh, that's just a normal, end of the year, award ceremony. No, it's not. You have to dress up, invitation only. We're bringing out the glitz and glams. We have vendors. This is going to be something that's going to be big that no one, has done in this district before. And we were able to accomplish that in year one. We were full to capacity with 400 students. And then, like I said, we outgrew the event center year one. So we celebrate students who earn their industry-based certification. At the event, they receive their green cord. They're corded. So we have a cording ceremony to wear at graduation. We recognize our students that participated in Lamar's LIT's graduation. So we have a representative from LIT there. We have a keynote speaker, and that person must be an alumni of Beaumont ISD. So first year we had Kenneth Zenon, and the topic that year was entrepreneurship. He's a successful entrepreneur. Last year we had Elena Savoy from ExxonMobil. The focus last year was STEM and engineering. And so this year we're still working on it. I'm not going to say right now.
Breaking news?
No, breaking news. You have to wait and see. You have to come to the event if you're invited. So And we just wanted to bring it put it on a grand scale, I should say, just to make sure that students who don't have this opportunity to be a part of an event where you have to come dressed, with your glitz and glam. And so DJ and the food and the lighting is down. It's just like, I kind of gave it the awards, I don't know, just kind of giving it a Hollywood flair.
Yes.
Bringing it to the students, with the red carpet and the red carpet interviews and red carpet hour, just so they can have that experience. Because, you'd be surprised, some students have never experienced that.
Mm-hmm. And probably maybe will not experience it again after that. What has been your feedback from the students that attend that event?
Yeah, so the feedback has been really good. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I right before the event, I just get nervous. I'm like, oh, okay, the kid's gonna come. Oh, please don't let it rain. And making sure that nothing else is scheduled around that time, because that's right in the middle of senior season, and we want to make sure that we acknowledge our seniors. And so I knew that we had to go over and beyond, so they would understand the importance of it, the importance of being there. And it's not just for the students; it's for their parents as well. And so the feedback has been great. We last year we went over time, and I was not happy about that. But I have a plan in place for this year, just to stay on target, on time, so we can be in and we can be out, and the kids can be celebrated, they can eat and have a good time. But because we had more students last year, we had to wait because there was a backlog in the lobby, and so it delayed the time for us to get started. But we fixed that kink.
Yeah.
So we're ready.
Well, that sounds like a good problem.
It was a good problem, but I like to make sure that I value people's time. We said 6 to 8. I want to honor that. But we were at the Civic Center yesterday planning, so we're ready. Yeah, we're ready. We're excited about it.
What is, and I don't know if you can answer this question, but what is the graduation rate from here?
I don't have the information to that question, because there's not the graduation rate from the Christian, and that's Beaumont United and Westbrook's graduation rate, because it's tied to the accountability of the students here is tied to their home campus. So we don't have that here at the Career Center.
Okay.
We don't have that at the Career Center.
So I can clearly see the impact that CTE has on the students that come here. What is the impact that it has on the community, Beaumont, Texas, and even outside of that, Southeast Texas?
Okay, so one thing that I'll start here. One thing we're required to do is have an advisory council. So we actually have industry plugged into our work. So we have members of the community, industry partners, partners from Lamar and LIT, and they tell us what's needed, within their perspective field. So that way we have an ear to the community. And so a major component to Eva LeBlanc, she's our CTE coordinator of business and industry. Her job is to stay plugged into the community. So she sits on various, boards, and she's plugged into, different companies and industry and organization throughout the school year, and that's how we form our partnership. So she knows what they're looking for, and then we make sure that we're doing our best to provide that.
Okay.
And so a lot of our students that are in our practicum programs, meaning they're seniors, this is their senior course, and they have 2 hours where they can be out in the field. Ms. LeBlanc's placed those students in some of those.
So like an internship.
It is an internship, but they
Yes.
call it the fancy word practicum. So practicum internship, yes. So they actually do their internship practicum in the field. They can do that in the field or on campus or within district. But she stays plugged into the community because, again, we're trying to build that pipeline. Yes, we want our students to stay here in Southeast Texas because there's $8 billion worth of growth, that's coming to Southeast Texas, and so they need students to be plugged into this work. Okay, but if a student does not want to stay in Southeast Texas, we can't change that, but we do our best to make sure they know the opportunities that are available because we want them to be plugged into that $8 billion.
Yes.
Workforce that's coming with the B. They need to be plugged into that work. So that's what we try to do because I get phone calls from industry saying, hey, like the Monday after graduation, I have 5 welding positions. Do you have any welders that, I hate, do you, need some plumbers, so they call. So we try to do our best, to funnel, students their direction and just to build that pipeline. So it's so important to understand that you have to be plugged into the community. Industry is a part of what we do. That's how we get our partnerships. And so what I shared with you about high demand, high skill, high wage careers, what TEA says you have to do. So every 2 years, I have to complete a comprehensive local needs assessment in order to receive our CTE federal funds. And then you have to look at industry trends and standards for your community, for your region, okay? So that's how I know what's going on in Southeast Texas. I look at Region 5, not just Bowman ISD, every school district in Texas has to do this if you receive federal funds. And so I know what the trends are, and I think this is the year I have to do, this is our upcoming year, we have to do another one, and it changes every 2 years. But then I say, okay, these are our top industries, and it shifts. COVID really shifted a lot of things. And so I know, once I look at that, then I look at what we offer, are we aligned to what our community, what our industry, what our region is looking for. But we are, because we have 24 programs of study. Now, if you're a smaller district, they may be hard to do, right? So what we need to do a better job of is making sure our kids know of the opportunities that are available for them in Southeast Texas. And that's Ms. LeBlanc's, that's her main goal, to do that.
Are you able to, and I know since you have so many classes, you have 24, if needed, once you look at the information and the statistics, are you able to adjust and, okay, we need this class now, we no longer need this class, let's take that out? Are you able to adjust like that?
Yes and no. Because, there's a teacher aligned to that, right? And so, you're talking about someone's job. But what we do is say, okay, what else could this teacher teach? I'll give you an example. I know one of the questions was cybersecurity. Unfortunately, this is the last year that we're offering, IT. And in that cybersecurity program of study, we offer IT, information technology classes. It started off strong, maybe a few years ago. When I first came aboard, let me say that, it was going strong, but then it started dwindling down, and when COVID hit, the students are just not interested in it. And so all we can do is, we can't just offer programs that, hey, the state says this is a high skill, high demand, high wage, option for you. You have to do this. They have options. So we have to still present it, but if they're not selecting that, then why put money into a program when it's low enrollment? So I use that as an example. But those students wired a portion of this building. They worked on repair Chromebooks for the district's technology department. There's a Chromebook squad at Westbrook where they repair Chromebooks. So it's a lucrative field. And that's one of our, trending industries here in Southeast Texas. It fluctuates every, 2 years, but that's still one of the top, at least the top 5. And so this year, it's, for the past years, it's been duly enrolled with LIT. It's just the student interest. So this is the last year. Our students from Westbrook and from the Career Center and Bowman United, they actually are transported to LIT with Mr. Joyner. He used to teach here, just to go ahead and complete that program. We're phasing it out, but it could be back in a few years. You just never know. But it's about staffing. And so Dr. Allen and I, we talk all the time, because she's also, of course, plugged in with industry. People call her about, hey, can you offer this? Can we do this? And sometimes the answer is no. I can't make that work, because we have to see if there's student interest. What would be the point of offering a program of study and the students are not interested? But just because industry, and we know that it's best for the students, but if they don't want it, what are we supposed to do? So we always say, how do you make kids want what we know they need?
Shoot, I could do a whole podcast on that.
I know, and I'm like, even in my own house, I'm like, look, you need to do this.
Yes.
So because they just don't know right now.
So you said with the cybersecurity, the IT classes, the interest and the enrollment is down in that class. Can you speak to why students all of a sudden are not interested in that, when cybersecurity, IT, that is the world at this point?
No, I really can't speak to that. All we can do is survey the kids to see. It's just not something that they're selecting, because you have to remember, sometimes when we introduce a new program of study, kids are more interested in going the other route of something new, or they may start in cybersecurity and say, hey, I want to go into engineering. And so I don't know if us expanding our engineering programs of study had anything to do with that, because we've included computer science in that. We still have a computer science, so don't get me wrong, just not the IT part, of that. So students are more interested in computer science than IT. And so I don't know if it was because they did not want to finish out their program of study here at the Career Center, but what we did this year, we bused the students from Westbrook to LIT.
Okay.
Which helped. We were able to make sure those kids were program of study completers. But we have to think, we have to forecast out and say, is this feasible for us to do this? Every year, bus students from Westbrook, bus them from Bowling United and the Career Center to complete this course. That may not be feasible for us. So those students will just be funneled into computer science. So technically, they're still getting that. It's just not dually enrolled with Lamar Institute of Technology. It's more geared towards robotics and coding. So that's the option that we chose. We just shifted that way. So I guess that's what they're interested in. All we can do is survey the students. We started our real estate program of study last year, was our pilot year, and there was a lot of student interest, but real estate is, it's a tough field. And we had to make sure the students were able to complete that independent work, because I actually launched it as a pilot independent program where you can work on it at school and you can work on it at home. And so we had just a small number of students to participate, and then they're finishing it out this year, but then next year it would just be a 9th through 12th grade regular program of study, so more students will be able to actually take advantage of the real estate program next year.
And talk to me about that real estate program. What do they learn in that program? And do they take, because you have to take a real estate exam or a real estate test, right, to get a license? Mm-hmm. So do they take that do they take that test while they're enrolled in that program? How does that work?
Under the pilot program, yes. So the pilot program, the way I designed that was in partnership with ACEable Agent. So if the students qualified to be a part of the pilot program, now they can still take the regular real estate courses. This is the advanced route. Okay. They have access to the actual real estate courses through ACEable. They can take advantage of it at home, or they can, log on, at school. They have that access for life, okay? So they take, Principles 1, Principles 2. They take all the regular courses that any person takes in Texas for real estate. They cannot test until they're 18. Okay, so when that student turns 18, then they can go sit for the test. Absolutely. But you can't do that until you're 18 years of age. So the way we did it last year, we actually would go out in the field with realtors, in our area. So students were able to tour homes. They were able to, show homes, just give them that hands-on experience so they can see the other side of real estate versus just logging in to ACEable and just, doing the theory. So that's how we launched the pilot program. Mm-hmm. We're so grateful at Westbrook. We have a realtor who now teaches the real estate class, and so they're getting experience from a realtor. She takes them out in the field. She continues that, but more students are now able to participate because this is just a regular program of study. They're relaunching next year, and the advanced route, we're probably going to shift from that to allow more students to enroll in the program. And the same thing at Beaumont United. So
why did you feel like that was and I know the first one was the pilot, but why did you feel like that was necessary to introduce real estate?
So I thought about, we were at a conference. I'll tell you, we were at a conference, and they have different vendors, mm-hmm. and there was a lady there, I don't remember the name of the company, but she had her own real estate curriculum. And then the next table you go to was a lady who had her own dental hygienist curriculum. So I was thinking, okay, these are different avenues that you could introduce, different fields to our students that may not be part of a program of study at that time, but you can create a route for it, right? So like real estate is marketing. So there's a marketing program of study, and so that's how I launched the real estate program as under the marketing program of study. But then TEA released a real estate program of study. So I was like, I already had it.
Yeah, yeah.
But there was a real estate program in Dripping Springs. So our CT consultant told me about it. And they actually launched the first one. And I said, oh, I'm doing that. And then COVID happened. And so I didn't get an opportunity to do it until last year. And so I just kind of stuck to my word that I would do it. And we had a lot of interest. And so we knew that this could be something great. And a lot of people have contacted me wanting to partner, and then also contacted Dr. Allen, how can we partner with it? And the kids are excited, so we're excited to see, where that goes. But I think just keeping, your ear to the community, we live hurricanes and all that, so construction is another big one.
Yes.
In our area. We offer construction at Westbrook. With the Ozan Central merger, there was not a construction program in years past. There was one at both schools, but when it merged, there was not one. So there's one at Westbrook that's been there. And so we're just trying to really, elevate that a little bit more. And those students actually are repairing our ag farmhouse. So that's how they do their practicum. They ride the bus to the ag farm and under Mr. Ashan, and they remove, the porch, and they're going to paint the house and build another deck. And so that's the exciting thing about CTE. These students are working with their hands. So they get to leave the classroom, and they get to go in partnership, with different organizations, within our community. We have a young man at Westbrook in the construction program. His internship is with the Texas Department of Public Safety. So they're out there. They're out there.
Yes.
Yeah, they're out there in the field.
So let's talk about the ag farm. What do the students raise their own animals, and does it include gardening as well? What is that about?
Yeah, so we have an ag farm off of Keith Road. It sits on about 30 acres.
Okay.
We have 4 pastures over there. We have an ag farmhouse. Our Westbrook ag teacher lives in the ag farmhouse, and his responsibility is to make sure, after hours when the students are coming in, that everything, is safe and in order, and making sure that their animals, are attended for. So yes, they raise their own show animals. Those are not our animals. We love them. We take care of them while they're there, but they are responsible for them because that's their show animals. And so I'm just excited to say that our students in the ag program at both high schools, we even have Benson and Odom, our middle school students, they feed into that. But our FFA program, Future Farmers of America, dynamic. Our kids place every year, state, nationals. They participate in the Houston Livestock Show. They go to the rodeo, and this will be our 3rd year that our students have participated. And naturally, of course, the YMBL here, So that is our top performing student, CTE student organization. Is FFA.
And that is part of CTE?
That's part of CTE. And our students, I think Eric Murray graduated year before last. He was our CT student of the year. Maybe his steer won $75,000, I think, total. I think was his
dollars.
Yeah, I think something.
Did
like
he get
that.
to keep that money?
Yeah, this is all theirs. Those are their animals. They raise them, they feed them, they have access to the farm. They get to go over there and feed them. We just ask that they not go after 10 or some work. But that's why we have our ag teacher there to kind of supervise that. And under Miss Hoppy, Stephanie Hoppy, our lead ag teacher, they're doing great. They win that award every year, and they know they do. They sit there like, that's gonna be our award. Yeah.
I love the confidence. I love the confidence.
I don't know what to say. I'm like, this gentleman said, y'all already know who's getting it. Y'all already know. So it's like, come on, y'all, we have to step up. But they're phenomenal, and and they're learning this. Now I'll say, you asked me earlier when I said high school and middle school is too late. We had a student, I think he was at maybe Sally Curtis. He was just a little thing. And I was asking her for pictures, I was like, well, is this one of our students? It was my first year. Oh yeah, he participates, he's gonna be ready, and made his way to high school, and he's just killing it. He's doing a great job. So they learn young, and it's exciting, and I learned a lot about it. I had to learn a lot. We have our 4-legged, students is what we call them, our petting zoo. Yeah, bun, and quack, and so it's just fun, and it's different when that's not something that you've been exposed to. I've learned a lot, through them, and just to see the excitement in their eyes, and when they're competing and winning is great. So, and they have their annual FFA banquet. you know, and they really go over, you know, and beyond. So I'm really proud of our ag program and our FFA students.
I am so excited that I have the chance to sit down with you, Dr.
Yes.
Prudhomme, because I did not know that this was here.
Yes.
I did not know that all of these options and opportunities are available to our students in Beaumont, Texas.
Yes.
This is amazing.
Yes.
Do you feel like, or what do you feel like could be done to educate the community more? Besides obviously watching my podcast.
Yes.
But what do you feel like could be done to educate the community more about, this is a jewel, what you have here?
Yes, one thing we talked about, and it is on my list of things to do, is to, you know, actually start doing some commercials. But one thing we also know that we have to do is meet the students where they are. And that's on social media and kind of really plugging in that direction so they can really know. So we've been, you know, talking to some of our little social media experts, these little students that's on social media that they run circles around us. And so we know we need to market better to kind of reach, you know, more students so they can really see what we're doing and not necessarily just looking at the magazine or hearing from, you know, a presentation or whatever. So that was one of the reasons why, you know, I said for the Choice Awards, let's start inviting or celebrating some of our middle school programs so that they'll know coming in. We celebrated an elementary student last year who has her own little TikTok and she made national news, and so we celebrated Brayley, and then we know that we want you to stay in this AV program study.
Yes.
Get in it and stay in it, so we know you could be with BICTV when you get to high school. And I think it was PIMAC last year, Peach MacArthur, their esports team, I think maybe went to the national competition. I'm not sure where they are this year, but those little, you know, pockets of things that students are doing in middle school, that means something. And so if you're doing it in middle school, then you just need to elevate it until they get to high school. So that's something that we just want to do, is just to kind of plug them in more so they can see what, you know, they have to look forward to when they get to high school.
What is the emotional response from children? Because I feel like when they come here, you're still learning. Yes, it's still school, but you're having fun while you're learning. You know, you're not just, and not that I'm saying anything is wrong with this, because I know, you know, school is very important.
Right.
But they're learning, they're hands-on, they're not just sitting quiet for 8 hours in the classroom while the teacher is at the board teaching. And, you know, what is the emotional response from the students here?
Well, one thing is that you're coming here to work. So that's the most important thing. And the students know that I'm coming to work. So that's how you have to look at this. And so I know with, this is the first year Dr. Threes is principal here, and in her announcement she says that all the time, you know, you're coming to work. You need to be in your uniform, and she tells them certain things that you do here, you need to do this, because if you have on your real job, you could get fired for these things, and this is your real job. So she's trying to train them that mindset. I talked about that. It's about changing the mindset that when you get on that bus, Westbrook or Beaumont United, and you come in here, you coming to work. If you're coming in the AM, you know you're coming to work. If you're coming to PM, you're coming to work, and then you go back to your home campus. So that's the mindset shift that we're dealing with, is training them to think, when I come to the career center, I'm coming to work because I'm coming to work with my hands. I'm coming to learn a skill set. You know, I'm building things, I'm making things, I'm designing things, you know, I'm baking things, you know. And so, and I think they're getting the hang of it, because when you travel to other schools, they're in uniform. But a lot of CT schools that we visited, they're traditional schools now. They started off like this, but they're now 9th through 12th. And so, so that makes a big difference, because everyone that comes there is strictly CTE, no athletics, none of that. You CTE, you come here to work. So that's the mindset shift that she's trying to get the students to understand, that I'm preparing you for the real world. That's why we said, for the real world and real way. So you're coming here to work.
Yes. And let's just talk about that a little bit more. So your tagline, if you will, preparing for the real world in a real way. Why was that selected?
So I actually selected that when I was trying to brand the department and coming up with the logo, and our motto was because that's what you're doing. You know, you're learning a skill set, and we are supposed to be preparing you for the real world in a real way, and that's with your hands. That's teaching you the technical skills that you need, whether you enroll in college, enlist in the military, or into the workforce. And so that's where that came from. you are being prepared for the real world. And a lot of students come back and they say, what you guys are saying is true. My son is an engineering major, and they're doing a lot of the things that the kids are doing, here with the certification. So, AutoCAD and all that SolidWorks.
Yes.
This is real what you're doing here. And so they are at an advantage, that they can take advantage of these opportunities and, pass these certification tests. One thing I'll say about that, and it is our struggle, is that students need to understand the importance of that IBC. Like, why do I need this?
What's IBC?
Industry-based certification.
Okay.
That's I've been saying certifications, but that's the full name. And they need to understand the importance of it. It's like, even if you choose not to go into, I'll say, automotive, you don't want to do that. You're just doing it now, give you something to do, you want to go in a different direction. You can still put that industry-based certification on your resume. It makes you more marketable, right?
Yes.
And so, in most students, their mindset, especially on a traditional campus, is that I just need STAR to graduate. Do I need this to graduate? It's not about graduation. It's about preparing you for the real world way. Because you're going to use Microsoft Office. So yes, this BIM class is important. This certification is important because if you can pass Word Expert and Expert, all the Microsoft, the Office suite, if you can pass all those certifications, you are truly marketable, right? And so that's mindset, trying to get the students to understand. How do we know? How do we get them to understand,
Yes, again,
this is truly
another
important.
podcast that we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Another podcast.
Yeah.
Do you think that might be something in the future to expand this from just 11th, 12th grade campus to possibly 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade?
There are no talks on the table about that right now.
Okay.
We just, in our experience of visiting other schools to get ideas,
Mm-hmm.
that's the direction they're going. But these are larger districts, in Houston, Austin, and Dallas area. So we have not had that, conversation. We're just trying to expand as many programs as we can here, and we've done that. But the bottom line is, what else can we offer the students? Something that we know that they actually need. But of course, it's all about student interest, because you can put a program study out there and they don't want it, and then it's like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? So you have to be very careful with that, engage the students and see what their interests, what their interests are.
As the director of CTE, Dr. Prudhomme, what is your personal intention for the students that come here, number one, and also what is your personal intention for the campus, the building as a whole?
My personal intention is to continue doing what we've done, and it's growing the program. Because
Okay.
initially when we started, we did not have 24 programs of study. We've added those programs of study. The industry-based certifications, when we initially started, that was not something required of the state. But I feel like a few programs were getting certifications because those instructors knew that what industry looks for, so they were already ahead of the game. But it's just my intent to continue that and to grow the certifications, because the more certifications that the students actually earn, it makes them more marketable. And I want to make sure that they understand that this certification means something for you when you leave Westbrook or Bowman United. When you graduate, when you walk across that stage and you leave, you still have that certification. Like you have your, your high school diploma. That is yours. That's your name on it. And you earn that. You mastered that skill set. And so that is our goal, is just to increase the number of students who pass their industry-based certifications. And I knew that once they did, I had to celebrate it in a very meaningful way, something that we've never done before, and that's where the CT Choice Awards comes in.
Do you have a max number of students that you can have here?
Yes. Yes.
Have you reached that number?
It just depends. Some of the programs, like in the labs, like automotive and welding, for safety reasons, you only can have a certain number of students in there. And so, yes, I do believe Ms. Pettitan has to look at their second and third choices, because, of course, safety is paramount. And that would be, the only exclusion. But we don't have a program of study we have to turn kids away. You can go into this one. This is your second choice. You have a third choice.
Right.
So we try to accommodate the kids as best as we can.
Right. As we get ready to wrap up this interview, Dr. Prudhomme, what would be the thing that you want the community to know about with CTE?
Is that CTE matters. And that's something that I would tell our students, our teachers, is that, and the students as well, that CTE matters. But initially coming in, because I was a CT teacher, that we matter. You know, we've always mattered, but you matter. And you hear so many people talking about CTE now, because that's the way to go. Because again, every kid is not going to college. Every kid is not going to college, but they can leave with a skill set. You know, all you need is a technical skill set, and you could be successful. I mean, if you choose not to go to college, you just have to find the right one. And so I just, want them to know and understand that CTE matters in our region, and that we're doing the best that we can do to help build that pipeline.
And my very last question for you, Dr. Prudhomme, who do you think would make a great guest on the podcast, but you have to help me get them on?
So I would think, since we're talking about CTE and February is CTE month, so I think the conversation could continue with our coordinator of STEM, LaShondra Cobb-Evelyn. We have a STEM center here in Beaumont ISD, and STEM is a part of CTE, and we have 2 engineering programs of study. We have 2 pathways, 2 routes. So we have a partnership with ExxonMobil, and then we have a partnership with OCI. And so I think it would be good for the community to hear about that, and then all of the robotics competitions that the students are going to, and how she's embedding STEM at elementary. If I told you, middle school and high school is too late. You got to start down here. And so she's embedding that like what we're doing with CTE. And so the bottom line is educating them as young as we possibly can. And so she's taking on that same initiative, just like we're doing with our K through 8. Career Readiness Initiative, is educating the little, so when they get big, then they already know the route they would possibly go.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for
Yes,
sitting
ma'am.
down and educating me about everything
Yes.
that you guys offer here. It's amazing. Like, I'm literally blown away.
Well, thank you for
We
having
did
me.
not have this when I was in school, which wasn't that long ago. But they should have.
Yeah, no.
They
Even when I was
absolutely
in school,
Yeah.
the kids are so fortunate that we didn't have any of this.
Yes.
They have now. The opportunities they have are just amazing.
They really are.
Yeah.
They really are. And thank you so much for tuning in and watching. You can get this podcast and all of my other podcasts on YouTube Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. And remember, you always have time to listen and learn on the go.
Buckle up, enjoy the ride with Crystal Petry Consultation.